Yes, I'm back, and only 12 weeks following spinal fusion surgery. This video is dedicated to my acclaimed surgeon, Mr. Lakshmanan, consultant spinal surgeon at Spire Washington Hospital. Without Pal's incredible surgery skills, my sea kayaking days would have certainly been over, ending a big part of my life, which I love. So a huge thank you, Pal. I'm eternally grateful. Now for more kayaking adventures, and what better place to start than my favourite spot on our northeast coast, the Farne Islands. The group lie as far as 5 miles off the beautiful Northumberland coast, between Bamborough with its historic castle and the now busy tourist village of sea houses. The all clear to paddle given from my surgeon the night before, and a last minute shout out to the local kayaking crowd. Kathy, my great friend and kayaking buddy, offered to join me for what was to be a superb trip. Thanks, Kathy. With 4 to 6 foot surf forecast, I decided we'd use my favourite launch spot south of the main beach at Bamborough, as it usually gives a slightly more forgiving surf launch. A lovely warm day, so the waterproof keg was packed in the boat. Now the challenge of a surf launch without getting soaked. Oh, this was going to be fun and take some timing. Oh, would I make it before the next big sets catch me? Wow, remarkably dry. Now, would Kathy be as lucky and time it just right? Well, apparently the first one hit her, dislodging the spare paddles on her deck. So grappling with them and trying to paddle out, she sadly got smacked right in the chest by the next 2 bigger ones.
Nice one, Kathy!
There's a yacht coming through. Well, that certainly cooled things down, but no harm done. Deck elastics need a little tightening for next time.
Oh, what a lovely day. That stream's going some now.
Neap tides, as the ebb stream was working off the north end of Inner Farne. But look, the blowhole was working quite nicely.
Woohoo! Nice.
The right tide height and 4 to 6 foot swell from the north, giving ideal conditions for the blowhole. Oh, we needed to check this out. Oh, spectacular. At low water spring tides, it's possible to paddle right into the gully where you can see the arch where the swell is forced under and out of the hole at the top. Nature is absolutely amazing. The Farne Islands are also steeped in history, from the monastic ruins of St Aidan and St Cuthbert on Inner Farne, where the renovated St Cuthbert's chapel still stands, and the old peel tower completed in 1859, and stories of the famous Grace Darling who in 1838 heroically rowed a boat in a storm and helped rescue survivors from the Forfarshire, wrecked on Big Harker Rock. Heading south against the weak ebb stream in the shallow sound between Inner Farne and Wide Open, with St Cuthbert's Chapel and Old Peel Tower in the background.
Nice, just sitting on the race, isn't it? See the seaweed.
We gave the seals a wide berth as we passed them hauled out on the southern end of the Wide Opens. Passing Scarcar's Reef with Staple and Brownsman Islands in the distance. Still a little bit of the ebb stream making its presence felt, with breaks on the back of Scarcars and the bush reefs.
Hello, little birdie. Kathy, Gun Rock's working over to the left.
Gun Rock Reef at the outer edge of Staple Sound produces some stunning overfalls, with a good spring tide and any swell on both the flood and ebb tides, reaching speeds in excess of 4 knots. Not a lot happening today though.
I think we'll give that a miss, Kathy.
Another favourite play area, the stacks or pinnacles at the southern end of Staple Sound as the swell breaks around their bases.
Now I won't need your shepherding skills on that one, I'm keeping out of it.
Trying to be sensible following my back operation, I kept out of things. Like everything though, a little too much temptation and an easy deep channel, I just couldn't refuse.
We've definitely got divers down over there.
With Longstone Lighthouse, Big and Little Harkers coming into view, this area is an excellent spot for both scenic and wreck dives. Big Harker being the site of the famous Forfarshire wreck, but very little remains.
I purposely didn't go through that gully. Normally there's loads of seals in, there's nothing.
A relaxing lunch in the boats, taking in the tranquility of Longstone and avoid any risk of spreading bird flu. With the young inquisitive seals checking us out. Stunning views and amazing light looking back to the coast 5 miles away. We travelled out clockwise around Longstone, heading out to the waves breaking on the northern hares.
look at this one. Well, yeah. There's some curl on that as well. Yeah, I'm giving this further.
The swell from the north produced some cracking waves as they barreled in onto the reefs off the northern end. Kniveston, at over 5 miles offshore, with its outlying reefs, are swept by the strongest of tides down the northeast coast, open to the full might of swell and sea conditions, producing violent overfalls. The waves breaking out on Kniveston were beckoning me out with lots of activity, but I wasn't going to be swayed this time. So impressive, watching the crystal clear waves breaking onto the reefs on the eastern seaward side of Longstone. As always, Cathy attracts the inquisitive attentions of a young sail as it followed on behind her.
Southeasterly or south, going north. Definitely moving in relation to Brownsman, the house on Brownsman. And this is exactly what happened the last time.
Last time I was also lucky, as the sneaky wave broke over me and I managed to stop 6 inches off the rocks and reverse out as the second tried to get me.
I'm just going to take some video. Now,
back at the pinnacles and a bit more wave activity with the lower tide height exposing more rocks. And no, I'm not being swayed into any daftness. The gully was showing a challenging line though, but thankfully not this time. Another little soul puffling, passing by, no doubt joining bigger rafts out to sea, fattening up before a long journey south soon. Staple Sound at virtually slack water was pretty tame, allowing us time to absorb the magnificent scenery and light.
Cathy? There's a seal or something in here, just lying there. Just here.
Rounding the bush reef, I noticed a strange shape, and on further inspection it turned out to be a seal lying on the surface blowing bubbles. I couldn't make out if it was feeling poorly or just tired. From the bush we made our way past east and west wide open before crossing to the southern end of Inner Farne. The stacks and cliffs of Inner Farne are normally full of seabirds of all description, kittiwakes, razorbills, guillemots, gulls, cormorants and sharks, but the ledges seemed quite sparsely populated. Bird flu has obviously taken its toll again, but by this time of year most have left for warmer climes. Kathy pointed out another cloud of jellyfish. She'd been spotting several throughout the day.
Down there?
A lovely little raft of young puffins, or pufflings as they're called, fattening themselves up before making their long migratory journey south to the Bay of Biscay. I'd played down Kathy's concerns about big surf on our return. She decided going right in shelter of the reef. I went to the left and committed the biggest schoolboy error, not checking behind. Finally, turning my head, facing a cresting wave well above head height, instinctively throwing my paddle and whole body into it, I disappeared for a good while, re-emerging on a paddle brace right into the beach. This was to be the ultimate test for my back. Thankfully, I passed. If you've enjoyed being along with me on my sea kayaking adventures, click on the thumbnails for recommendations from my channel and other great videos. Please like, consider subscribing and share with friends. Thanks for watching.